Hi students, and welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian. I'm streaming to you live from beautiful Budapest here in Central Europe. I hope everybody has had a great week and is looking forward to a fantastic weekend. I know many people are on lockdown again and so forth, but make the best of it. Now is a good time to study, to reflect, and be productive at home. Hi Bekjan, back at you. Hi Moni. Hi Murat Khan. Ois, nice to see you in the class. Nick Hill, good to see everyone. In this class, we are looking at a task 1 writing essay. It's called an expository essay. That's the type of essay for task 1, where you have to explain and expose information, hence expository essay. And we are looking at comparing maps. This is one of those types of questions that come around every now and then in the IELTS exam, and students are often curious on how to write an effective Band 9 essay when you compare maps. Again, this lesson is presented to you by aehelp.com. That's academicenglishhelp.com. For success on your academic IELTS exam, be sure to visit us there. Join our premium course. For the general IELTS, visit us at IELTShelp.com. On both of our websites, we have the best deal of the year going right now. It's our Cyber Monday discount, so you can use the code CYBERDAY to get 40% off on our premium package. So it's a great time to join and get your lifetime membership. Doesn't cost much at all, and it gives you a lot of help to improve your band scores. Jainil, good luck on your listening, reading, and writing tomorrow. Today's writing task 1, Jainil, so this should help for that part of the test. All right. If you have questions, students, you can always send me an email to adrian@aehelp.com. This is a members chat class, but of course, everybody is welcome to watch, and we will have an all chat class coming up for reading. So Jainil, a little bit of writing, a little bit of reading today, so it's great that you're in the class. And of course, we had listening this week, so it's a good week for you to prepare for that exam coming up. Okay, and tomorrow we'll have speaking classes, so make sure you're around for that. Here we go with our task 1. Just before I show you the question, a quick peek at our websites. This is aehelp.com with the blue background. You can click that big red button to join us there and use that code for the 40%. And this is the general version of the website here with the green background. You can click that big red button to join us there. Okay, let's take a look at today's question. So here we go. IELTS Task 1 writing. This is academic. General is quite different. General, you have to write a narrative essay. If you're wondering about the general, visit our website and visit our YouTube channel, General IELTS Help or General English Help. Okay, here we go. The following diagrams show the changes that have happened on an island from the past until the present. Report the main features and make comparisons where relevant. This might be a familiar question to some of you. Write at least 150 words. So minimum 150 words. They do a word count on your writing. For computer-based exams, they know exactly your word count because the computer tells them. For paper-based, they count a few lines. They divide, find the average, multiplied by the number of lines. Okay, so 150 words. Minimum, it should be more, should be like 180 and 20 minutes. Here is our map number 1. Can everybody see that fairly clearly? Hopefully you can. I tried to pay attention to making it as clear as possible. If you don't see the words exactly, it's not the end of the world. There's not a lot, and it's fairly simple here. Okay? If you can't see it, let me know, but that's it right there. Okay. All right. So this is, as you can see, the past. We don't have a year here. Okay. So you don't have to worry about the year. All right. We just know that it's the past. when you see that, you should immediately be thinking there's going to be some present perfect going on when it's past like that. And then here we have this nice little island. The name of the island is Paradise Island. You're always processing pictures the same as written text. So you're going from from left to right, top down. So this is a map of Paradise Island. This is of the past. Here we see the beach. Then we have a nice seaboard here. We have some sharp-looking rocks. And then we come here. We have our scientific research station. Some trees. What kind of trees are these? Anybody? Let's see your use of vocabulary here. What kind of trees are we looking at? What are those called? What type of forest is it? What kind of trees are we looking at? They're palm trees. Yeah, so this is where, of course, your vocabulary should be coming into mind. So palm trees, right? Like the palm of your hand. This is also your palm. Okay, palm and palm trees. Okay, word association. It's not a coconut tree, Janelle. It's a palm tree. Palm trees, the fruit of the palm tree is a coconut, but it's called a palm tree. Okay, all right. What kind of a forest is that? When you have all of these palm trees, what type of forest? So when you have many, many palm trees together make up what type of forest? Okay, there's a name for that as well. Think about the area where you find palm trees. You can say palm tree forest, but it's a little bit awkward. Yeah, that's right, Murad Khan. Very nice. It's called a tropical forest. Very good. Tropical forest. Yeah, there you go. These are the types of words you should be thinking about. Bekjan, tropical rainforest is okay. Rainforest is a little bit different, though, Bekjan. When we're thinking tropical rainforest, we're thinking more about the forests of Brazil, which do have palm trees, but it's better just to call this a tropical forest rather than a rainforest. So just a tropical forest is fine. Okay, so we have that. We have a natural spring here, okay, which is fantastic. And we have a scientific research station. Then we have a pier with a boat and the sea. Okay, good. So that's looking good. We've processed that. Of course, this is happening very quickly when you're looking at this in the real exam. I'm just emphasizing the details here, and importantly, the processing stages. So top left to right, top down, okay, and thinking of vocabulary as I'm looking at this, all right? It's not a Palm Island, Tito. It's Paradise Island, okay? Don't write confusing information, students, all right? So here we go with, of course, the next picture, which is Paradise Island in the present, okay? Now, it'll be a little bit easier in the real exam because you will see both maps at the same time. We'll do that later, too. I'll shrink the image so you can see both, but right now we're just looking at each one of these separately. So, again, left to right, top down. Here we have a beach, and now we have swimming permitted. Okay, so it's the same beach where swimming is allowed. We have the same seaboard. Here we have those jagged rocks, but we also have a scenic lookout. Okay, great. Now we look at the pier. Oh, right away I noticed that the pier, it looks like there's much larger. It's much larger. It's a T shape. We got an end of the pier, so that's being developed. And there's a cruise ship. Okay, and then now here's a hotel complex. What was there before? What was in place of this hotel complex before? Okay. So, what was there before? This is where, you want to train your brain to kind of remember what it sees and immediately start making those comparisons that you will use later in the essay. Yeah, so Janelle says there was a scientific research center. Yeah, research center, Janelle. Okay, very importantly. Good. So now it's a hotel complex. with a swimming pool. We can see there's a path to an open restaurant, barbecue area, there's a cafe, and here we have that natural spring, okay? And then here we have a cycle path that goes around the island. Now, so this cycle path that goes around the island, what is this called in math? So when you have a circle in math, this is called the diameter. Okay, just remember diameter. This is called the radius. And what is this called? Important for a lot of engineering and physics students to know these kinds of words. So this is the center, right? This is the diameter, this is the radius, and the line that goes all the way around is called the what? It's not the circle, it's not the perimeter. Yeah, very good, Crystallite. It's the circumference. Circumference. Okay? Circumference. Okay? Circle, circumference. Okay? So, perimeter is not a bad word. I saw somebody write that, David. So the cycle path goes around the perimeter of the island or the circumference of the island, okay? Perimeter or circumference, both of those would work. So this was just a bit of vocabulary for this cycle path that goes around the circumference of the island, okay? All right, good. So now we have our words. By the way, if I want to use this to describe the shape of the pool, it would be a circular pool. Okay, so if I'm using circle as an adjective, then circular pool. When you're describing maps, it's a good idea to have some vocabulary for shapes, and different word forms. Circle, rectangle, square, triangle, definitely know those words. And then know the adjectives, circular, rectangular, okay? So know these words. All right, fantastic. We're on the right track. We've observed the past and the present of Paradise Island. Now we're ready for writing the overview / introduction, okay? Introduction and overview, one paragraph. It's the same. You don't need to separate them. I really don't like seeing them separated just because it's too segmented in that way, and it's awkward reading. Okay, so first of all, we write the overview. Okay, overview is a detailed paraphrase or a paraphrase of the question with details, as I always say, plus the most observable feature. Okay, so let's do this. Now, you should be able to do this from memory, okay? The diagrams or the maps aren't that complicated. The following diagrams show the changes that have happened on an island from the past until the present, report the main features, and make comparisons where relevant. First of all, just paraphrase this sentence. The following diagrams show the changes that have happened on an island from the past until the present. So paraphrase that in your own words and add in some details, okay? I'm going to do the same, and then we'll compare, okay? All right, so that's my paraphrase of that sentence, just adding a little bit of detail, not much. I'll show you what I mean there. Let's take a look. Bakshan says the given blueprint depicts the improvements that have occurred in the island of paradise from the past until present time. Bakshan, do you think they're improvements? They're developments. I'm kind of sad that they cut down that tropical forest by the look of it. So I don't know if it's an improvement, but you know what, Bakshan, it's okay. You can make that opinion. It's just, do realize that it's an opinion. You're opinionated, okay? OS says the two maps illustrate the development which has occurred on Paradise Island between the past and today. The significant development, OS. So, OS, always use your adjectives and adverbs to be concise, to state your ideas as simply as possible, right? So the two maps illustrate the significant development which has occurred on Paradise Island between the past and today, period. That's it, OS. Then it's good. Janelle says the given two blueprints depict a snapshot of Paradise Island in the past and the development until current time. Good, Janelle. The given two pictographs depict... Nick Hill, because you're using the word pictograph, don't use the word depict. It's just the pict, right? Pict. The given two pictographs show or illustrate the developments that have occurred on Paradise Island from the past until current time. Nick Hill, make sure to capitalize the P and the I. Don't lose easy marks. It's the name of the island, right? Paradise Island needs a big P and a big I. Ferdov says the given blueprint illustrates the developments like building hotels, piers, restaurants, cafe paths, and cruise ship sites that have occurred on Paradise Island for a long time. Okay, that's okay, Ferdovs. I don't know if I would actually list all of the different amenities which have been built. I think I would leave that for the analysis. I think you might get a bit of repetition there unnecessarily. Okay. Murat Khan says the given maps compare a small island before and after their developments for tourist purposes. Okay. Yeah, Murat Khan, you're also kind of rolling in the most observable feature in with your paraphrase. So I'm not sure if you did that on purpose. If you did, then okay. Moni says the two diagrams outline the major alterations that have occurred on Paradise Island from past to present. Moni, island also needs a capital I. When it's part of the name, it becomes a big I. And it's just really one diagram with two maps. Okay, we could argue about that, but arguably this is one diagram showing two maps, one of the past, one of the present. Okay, all right. So good job, everyone. Let's keep going here. David, Yaribasha, Rashika, I see your answers as well. They're looking good. I'm going to keep moving along here. So I kept mine pretty simple too. The two maps provided show the development that has taken place on Paradise Island from the past until the present. Okay, and I'm using present perfect, has taken place, to show that grammar right away. And then the most observable feature. So now write a sentence about what is the most observable feature. And keep it simple, so don't go into details. We've got a good analysis ahead of us here, so we don't need to get right into the analysis, just the most observable feature. So, and I gave you a bit of a hint because I think it was Murat Khan that kind of hinted towards the most observable feature, which I think is quite obvious here if you're not overcomplicating. Okay, so what's the most observable feature here? Again, simple is beautiful. It's not necessarily easy. Bekjan says, at first glance, it is clear that the given island has changed from a scientific research center to a tourist recreational destination. Bekjan, good. That's exactly it. That's exactly it. Okay. All right. So Ois says the main features converted from science to tourist facility. That's good, Ois. Again, be a bit more expressive, like what I did correcting Bekjan, so a little bit more expressive. Ferdov says it's obvious that the palm trees have been cut down. Oh, and I think I have my camera stopping here. Maybe not. Just give me a second. I'm not sure why I lost the screen there. We'll get you back, though. No worries. Just give me a moment. Looks like maybe a software failure. I'll give you an extra second to word everything correctly here. Okay. No worries. You get a little happy smiley baby intermission there. Okay. But again, so clearly some of you identified what the main feature is, that we're moving from a tourist hotspot, or sorry, from a scientific research station to a tourist hotspot, okay, or converting. That's the past to the present. All right, and think about wording. So you want to word this as nicely as possible. And yes, for Dobbs, you're right, there were more palm trees in the past. There is a way that we can perhaps put that into the overview. Okay. Thanks, Ois. All right. I'll write it, and then I'll read a couple more of your main features, okay? So it is at first glance, right? Because at first glance, we can see that. It is clear that the island has been converted from a scientific research outpost to a tourist destination with many additional amenities in place of the natural or the yeah, let's keep it like that. Okay. All right. Yeah, I would agree that that's what we see. Okay. Moni says the most noticeable aspect is the scientific research building has been replaced by the construction of a hotel. Moni, you can see that there's a lot more than that going on. Okay. So, yes, I agree. But Ferdovs was correct too. Like, I mean, we see this tropical forest here with all these palm trees, and those are all gone. And instead, we have restaurants, barbecue areas, cafe. So I think that at first glance, we can definitely see that here we're looking at the overall change, which is from a scientific research station or outpost, which is here, to a tourist island or an island for tourism, right? So that's what we need to express, okay? All right, hopefully that is clear for everyone. Okay, so here is my Band 9 introduction. And again, not overcomplicating it, all right? So the two maps provided show the development that has taken place on Paradise Island from the past until the present. At first glance, it is clear that the island has been converted from a scientific research outpost to a tourist destination with many additional amenities in place of palm trees. Okay, and now I have those key elements in there. Okay, Janil says it's a guitar-shaped island. Yeah, it is, Janil, but again, don't go off onto kind of unique and awkward tangents like that, right? Okay. Ferdov says it is clear that Paradise Island served as a scientific research center, and now it has been transformed into a tourist hotspot. Very good, Ferdovs. I like it. Did you notice my corrections, Ferdovs? One more time. It is clear that Paradise Island served as a scientific research center, and now it has been transformed into a tourist hotspot. Okay, so a couple of corrections there with the passive present perfect. And also for Dobbs, scientific research center, small s, small r, small c. Okay, doesn't have to be capital. It's not a name. It's a common noun. Okay, everybody following me so far? It's all good? All right. Okay, so now let's get into analysis or analyses. Okay, when you are analyzing maps like this, what should you do? Some students have been with me for a while, and I told you about this, how to do this. So when you're analyzing and comparing a map like this, what do you need to think about as you're thinking of your analysis? So what's important? How do you figure out what to write about first, second? So should you write about the trees first? Should you write about the hotel first? How do you figure that out? Okay, and I can see everybody's on the same page as me with the yeses. That's great. Thank you, Jainil, Ois, Nikhil, for Dobbs. So how do I know like what to write about first, what to write about second? How do I figure that out? I'm going to shrink these maps down a tiny touch so we kind of have both of them more or less in the image here. Okay, I know the sides just got really bright there, but that's fine. So we have both maps in here now. How do I figure out what's the most important? What's kind of a trick that I can use to figure out what's most important? Anybody tell me? So it says start from the science station, and I think you're okay with that. I think perhaps you're right about that, Ois, that we can start with that. So what you can do in the exam is go from big to small, okay, big to small. So if I circle this or put a square around it, and I put a square around this, okay, and I add these two together, that's quite a large feature. Then I have this, and I have this. That's quite a large feature as well. Okay. Then I have, I'm just going to use a triangle here. This, and I have this. Okay. That's quite a large feature as well. All right. Then I have this, and I have this. And that's a fairly good size feature as well. So what I'm doing here, because I want to go from the most to the least important. Why? I might run out of time and I might run out of space. So I might run out of my 20 minutes and 150 words, and I might not be able to discuss everything about the rocks and about the beach and about the bike path. Okay, there's quite a bit of information here. Maybe I can, maybe I can't. I don't know that yet. Okay. You should have a good idea as long as you're practicing at home. So I would say that this is my biggest feature. This is my second biggest feature. This is my third greatest feature. This is my fourth. And then if I can get all four of these, I'm looking good. If I have more time, then I can mention the beach, the bike path, okay, and the lookout, okay. So I'd roll that into a 5, 5B, 5C. Okay, everybody with me on that? So the way that I identify when I have something like this of what I should write about first, second, third, and fourth is just basically taking the largest features that have especially changed, like the scientific research station, and then moving to the smaller features of change. Does that make sense? And you can literally do that by circling them and then visually kind of seeing which are the bigger and which are the smaller changes. It makes sense to do it that way. Okay? Everybody with me on that? So let's start then with the research station. And you can get fancy later on, like in university. I might do it a little bit differently. I might discuss the pier and the research station together simply because a smaller research station is serviced by a smaller pier. A much larger tourist resort is obviously going to be serviced by a much larger pier that where larger boats like cruise ships can dock. But again, here to get a band 9, you don't necessarily have to get into that much detail. You're not writing a master's thesis, okay? Or you're not actually writing a tourism report for the tourism ministry of the Caribbean or something like that. So you can just focus and do it on the way that I'm showing you, okay? So let's do this. Let's start with the hotel complex swimming pool, okay? I would definitely roll that all into one. So hotel complex swimming pool, replacing the scientific research station. So write a nice sentence explaining that contrast or that comparison to your reader, okay? Oh, it says the most important change which has happened or that has happened on Paradise Island is the replacement of the scientific research station by a large hotel complex and swimming pool. Okay, so immediately it is, don't want to repeat my overview here. It is clear that the smaller research station on the east side of the island has been replaced by a much larger hotel complex and swimming pool. Okay, good. And again, we're using present perfect here. Ferdov says, analyzing deeper, it can be observed that the scientific research station has been demolished and instead hotel complex has been built. The amenities, that comes later for Dobbs, unless you want to mention directly the swimming pool. Amenities can be anything for Dobbs, so you want to be specific here, the hotel complex and swimming pool, right? We'll talk about the palm trees getting cut down and in their place, other amenities being built, such as the restaurant and the barbecue area. That comes later. That comes next, right? So leave that open. So don't just generalize with amenities at this point, okay? Okay. Beckjan says, to begin with, the most noticeable change which took place on Paradise Island is the conversion of the scientific research station to the hotel complex with swimming pool on the north side. It's the east side, Beckjan. So this is the east, right? East, sorry. West. It's the west side. I wrote it wrong too. So yeah, you might want to make sure that you don't make that mistake that Beckjan and I just made, okay? So west, east, north, south, okay? So this is the west side of the island. This is the north side of the island, south side, east side of the island, okay? All right. So yeah, it's good to write the compass on the map so that can help you. As soon as you see a map, oftentimes on the IELTS, they will include the compass, but if you don't see the compass, then you can just quickly include the compass so that you remind yourself to use these directions to help your reader figure out what's what, okay? All right, so west side, not the north, Beckjan, and not the east, like I said, but the west, okay? Which I shouldn't make that mistake because I live in Western Canada. All right, so west side of the island. Okay, now the next point that we want to compare here is the palm trees That's obviously very clear. And where the palm trees were, it's now an open restaurant and barbecue area. And there's obviously a path connecting the hotel to this restaurant. And notice that the restaurant, it's an open restaurant, and they drew this circular shape. So if you can, definitely describe the shape of the restaurant. It's not by accident that the IELTS didn't draw a square-shaped restaurant. So if somebody at the IELTS exam making center took the effort of drawing a circle instead of a square, it's probably because they're looking to see if some students are going to describe the shape of that restaurant. Okay? All right. So Ferdov says, moving to the center of the island, the palm trees have been cut down and instead an open restaurant and barbecue area have been built. Yeah, not structured, built. Okay, Ferdow's, don't actually count the palm trees. That's probably not an accurate representation of the number of trees. It's just showing you that there was a tropical forest there of multiple trees. So I wouldn't say 6 palm trees. I think that's a bit awkward. Okay, all right. Nick Hill says, looking in more detail, it is evident that the scientific research station has been replaced with the construction of a new hotel complex. Yeah, and Beckjan, you said the conversion of the scientific research center. It's not converted, but it's replaced. Be careful about that, students. So you can tell that the scientific research station has a very different looking shape than what they gave you here for the hotel. So I think one of you wrote demolished, and I thought that was a good word because you can tell that the scientific research station has in fact been demolished and replaced by a hotel complex. Okay, so pay attention to that. Okay, so let me just fix my mistake here. Not the east side, the west side of the island. Okay, in addition, the tropical forest in the center of the island had been cut down to make way for the circular shaped open, they say open air, it's usually how we express it, maybe not, just open restaurant. Okay, I'm going to call it open air. I think that's more accurate English in my opinion, but shaped open air restaurant and barbecue area which are accessible from the hotel by a walking path. Okay, so here's my next sentence. In addition, the tropical forest in the center of the island had been cut down. Okay, so again, use your grammar range wherever, whenever possible. Here I'm using the passive past perfect, had been cut down, to make way for the circular shaped open air restaurant and barbecue area. Let's not forget letters. Area which are accessible from the hotel by a walking path. Okay. Now, let's go to the next part of the island, which is here. And here we have that natural spring. That's probably what brought the tourism here in the first place, although we don't want to write that because we don't know that. It could be the swimming beach. It could just be the remote location with this beautiful lookout. But obviously, the natural spring has remained the same. There's a cafe located there as well. So here, we're moving to this area. Okay, this is our next spot that we can discuss. Although, here some of you might be saying, well, Adrian, why don't we go here back to the pier? And yeah, we could do that. So we could jump around here as long as we're clear on our direction. So you know what? Let's save this for the end. Let's go back to the pier. Okay, so let's go back to the pier. So let's talk about that. Number 3. This is why it's good to indicate your points of comparison. I got a little bit carried away there thinking that I'm going to talk about the spring because I was moving from left to right. Okay. But then I realized that, wait a second, I don't want to do that because the pier is actually a more important point of comparison for me at this point than talking about the natural spring. Now, some of you might be thinking, well, Adrian, why didn't you just start from the pier and move from west to east? Okay, I could have done that, but I didn't. I thought about that. Okay, why do you think I didn't choose to do that? So why didn't I start talking about the pier first with the boat and the cruise ship? Anybody have an idea of why I chose not to start with the pier? Why I decided to go with this first and then the trees, and now I'm going to the pier and then to the hot spring? So what's my logic? This is arguable. It's kind of up to choice a little bit. But why do you think I didn't start with the pier? Yeah, Beck John, exactly. It was kind of a bit of a trick question, but an easy answer. It's because it's not as big as the hotel. It's kind of weird to start the analysis by saying there's a large pier on the island. It makes much more sense to start with the research center, especially because, remember, the main feature. So the main feature was, at first glance, it is clear that the island has been converted from a scientific research outpost to a tourist destination. Okay, so this was my main feature. So it makes sense to tell the reader that, yeah, okay, there was a research station there, and now there's a massive hotel there, rather than saying a little pier became a big pier. Okay, so I thought that made more sense. Okay, now we can talk about it's arguable. You could still get a band 9 if you start with the pier. It just might read a little bit more awkwardly in the beginning, saying that, firstly, tourists arrived to a much larger pier than scientists in the past. Okay, so you could kind of start that way, but it's trickier, and you know what? I would say avoid it. It's not necessary to get into that difficult situation. Now we want to talk about the pier. Okay, so, and it'll make more sense. You'll see. So write a sentence with the smaller pier being developed further. I don't want to give you the exact words. There's a few different ways you can express this, where you have the original pier, it looks like, but there's more of it. And then you had a small boat. Here you have a cruise ship. So write about that. I'm going to do the same, and then we'll compare it. Okay? Okay, so here we go. All right. So here we go. Oh, it says another change which has happened on the extreme east is a bit remainder of the natural spring, but create a coffee in the same zone. Okay, oh, so you jumped. You forgot about the pier. Forgot about the pier. Okay. Here's what I wrote. Maybe you're writing as well right now. So I said, in order to service the needs of the island, let's put a comma there because this is a dependent clause followed by the independent clause. So the smaller original pier has been extended to accommodate large cruise ships to berth. Okay, berth is the verb for park. When you park a boat, you dock the boat or you berth the boat. Okay, so think of birth like when a baby is born. Okay, different spelling. So in order to service the needs of the island, the smaller original pier has been extended to accommodate the large cruise ships to berth. And then I can add location. Sure, that's maybe not a bad idea. On the shoreline just west of the hotel. Okay? Giving directions is a good idea. Beckjan says, in terms of access to the island, there was a small pier which served boats, and it has now been improved to accommodate large cruise ships. Students, always use the vocabulary boat. Might as well use the vocabulary cruise ship. Again, notice how the people who made this map took the extra effort to draw a little cruise ship here instead of a boat. So obviously they're looking to see how many students are going to use that vocabulary cruise ship correctly with the verb berth or dock to explain this scenario here. Okay? All right. So, I'm going to now write about the hot spring or the natural spring. We're going to go to that here. Now, this is a similarity, and it's really good to discuss similarities as well. If you're really fast, you can discuss the similarities of the rocks and the beach also. Okay, so I'm going to just wrap up the analysis here for you just so you can see how it goes. All right, here we go. Okay, so here's the rest of it, just kind of finishing up these smaller points. Okay, I'm not going to worry about the lookout. I'm kind of running out of time. I feel I can still get a band 9 without that. Okay, I saw that you did that for Dobbs, which is good. Here, I'm just writing, okay. On the northeast of the island, the natural spring remains as is with a newly built cafe. And if I really want to get that lookout in there, and lookout. As well, the beach on the northwest of the island remains unchanged, and this is where tourists can go to swim. Additionally, tourists can use the newly made bicycle path that goes around the circumference of the island. Okay, here we go. I want to get to one more point here, the summary. I'd like to see how you summarize this analysis of Paradise Island from past to present. So now that we've looked at this island and we looked at what has been developed from the past until now, what can we summarize about it? So what is the clear summary here? Yeah, Janelle, cafe or cafe as kind of the French with the accent are both valid in English. Yeah, you can use the E with the accent. In rare cases, we do use the accent or the French style of writing, cafe. Yeah, modern English incorporates French. That's a little FYI. Okay, all right. Murad Khan says, it is clearly observed among the many changes that the pier, which can affect the whole transformation, has been developed further to ensure easy accessibility. Okay, Murad Khan, it's a little bit opinionated and it's a bit complex. All right, let's see what you come up with for the summary. Ferdov says, to sum up, Paradise Island serves more people than in the past. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, that's one good point there. It seems to, for sure. Okay, so in summary, not only has the purpose of Paradise Island, oh, wait a second, that's all capitals, right? Paradise Island changed from the past until now, but it has also been transformed from its natural beauty into a more developed tourist destination, right? So there's no longer a forest destination to accommodate more people. Okay, good. Yeah, absolutely. All right, and there is our full essay. Ferdov says man-made spot. Yeah, man-made. It's not quite what I'm looking for Ferdovs. There is another way to express that. It's not coming to my mind right now. But yeah, when you move from natural to man-made, we say man-made, yes, but there I could express that a little bit better. It's just not coming to my mind. It's okay. I'll think about it. And then when I post it on our YouTube community posts with the other essays, you'll see it there. Okay, students, let's read this, so make sure it makes sense. From the top, here we go. The two maps provided show the development that has taken place on Paradise Island from past until the present. At first glance, it is clear that the island has been converted from a scientific research outpost to a tourist destination with many additional amenities in place of palm trees. Immediately, it is clear that the smaller research station on the west side of the island has been replaced by a much larger hotel complex and a swimming pool. In addition, the tropical forest in the center of the island had been cut down to make way for the circular-shaped open-air restaurant and barbecue area, which are accessible from the hotel by a walking path. In order to service the needs of the island, the smaller original pier has been extended to accommodate large cruise ships to berth on the shoreline just west of the hotel. On the northeast of the island, the natural spring remains as is with a newly built cafe and lookout. As well, the beach on the northwest of the island remains unchanged, and this is where tourists can go to swim. Additionally, tourists can use the newly made bicycle path that goes around the circumference of the island. In summary, not only has the purpose of Paradise Island changed from the past until now, but it has also been transformed from its natural beauty into a more developed tourist destination to accommodate more people. Yep, you'll get a band 9 for that, for sure. And many of you have done a really good job in today's class. Again, reminding you of those important tips. Pay attention to the biggest features, write about those first. Think about directions, locations. That's really important for maps. Using the compass, northwest, east, south, is a very handy tool. Okay. Again, for everybody watching, check us out at aehelp.com for academic IELTS and gltshelp.com for general. If you're studying for the general IELTS, for task 1 general IELTS, definitely look at our videos on gltshelp.com in your full course. Bekjan, you're very, very welcome. Make sure you hang around, everyone. 30 minutes. We got reading coming up. Reading passage with strategy and answers. Ois, you're welcome. Good writing, everyone. Good writing for Dobbs. Janil, if I missed some of your responses, hey, don't worry about it. It's practice. You're doing great. Okay. I'll be back in 30 minutes with some more IELTS for reading, strategy, and practice. I'm Adrian. Bye for now, and hopefully I will see you soon.